Roland Willits, Old Men's Stories, biking into the center of the universe.
Tonight you're going to talk about
Bikes.
bikes.
Bikes. And we get our choice. We can do any kind of a bike, from a one-wheeler to a motorcycle. Okay?
One-wheeler? That's not a bike.
Well, we can call it. That's right. Bike means two. Of course. I was thinking we could use the four-wheeler out there, but that's not a bike either.
We can pretend.
We could pretend a one-wheeler was too.
Unicycle? You can't say bicycle then, you have to say
Okay.
I can't ride one anyway, so I don't care what they're called.
And I can't ride. Well, I when I was really young, I was
You
able
actually tried one?
I actually did one.
Where'd you find one?
They had one on, some kid bought it and had it on the street in front of the house. And we all got to try it, and I could stay on it a good 6 seconds.
That's better than me. I can barely see one. I mean, I think I saw one in a circus once.
That's right.
The clown was riding it. He was really good, actually. He could do all kinds of things. I saw somebody ride a unicycle on a high wire once.
Wow,
When
yeah.
I went to a circus.
Is that the one we went to together?
No,
In San
it was
Francisco?
when I was a little girl.
Oh, I've seen that too. I've seen that too.
Okay,
There, so I've seen it with bicycles too.
I
And
haven't
I've seen them ride
that.
on one tire, then the other tire, and
I don't watch enough YouTube, apparently.
oh no, this was when I was young and
Ah.
at the circus.
Okay,
Yes.
why don't you tell about when you rode with the Hells Angels?
Oh yes, man.
Wait, before he starts, I'm sorry. Before he starts, I have to tell you that he had on a suit. He was going to work at the hospital. He was finance director, and he had on a sports jacket and dress slacks and a tie and a dress shirt and a bubble helmet, because in California they have a helmet law and you have to wear a helmet. And he had this blue bubble helmet. Okay, now tell him about riding with the Hells Angels.
Well, you told the story already, sweetie.
I only described what you were wearing. I did not tell what happened.
Oh, okay. Well, it's hard to go in and tell how I was rough and tough and being a Hell's
No,
Angel
Scott, you can
when you
lie.
already know the plot. You already know
You
the
can
ending.
lie. He can lie. Okay, I give him permission. You are now allowed to lie.
Just
Yep.
for a couple seconds. Huh?
Yes.
Man, I've
Go on.
always been a biker in my mind.
Yeah. Wait, what kind of biker?
Rough and tumble, wild one, Marlon Brando type, always down deep. You
I
know.
was scandalized by that movie
Mr. Cool. Why were you scandalized by that?
because it was horrible. Those people came into town and started being destructive.
They were.
Yes, that was in the 50s, and people were not that way then. They are now, but not then.
No, they weren't.
I was scandalized by that film.
It was.
I didn't like Marlon Brando for years after that.
Yes, but the tough girl after the tough guy was always one of my.
There was a girl in that film.
Yes,
I
and
can't
she
remember.
was after Marlon because he was the wild one. So, anyway, I was driving up there with my wild motorcycle.
Tell them what kind it was.
I had a 550 Yamaha with sort of an ugly green color.
It was green.
Yes.
Sort of Kelly green.
Yeah, Kelly green, yep. And there I was. I drove across the Bay Bridge, across the San Mateo Bridge, up along the bay, and then I went from 280 to from 280 to 380, or 380 to 280, 380 to 280. I got up at 280, I was driving along, and man, I was just in my suit. And all that, I said, I looked down at my motor, I said, is something wrong? And then I turned around and I looked up, and I was riding with the Hell's Angels. They were all around me, they had circled me. And then they looked over at me, gave me those looks, you know. And I looked at them, and I looked around, and I had my suit on, and I said, yeah! And I stood up, took my shoulders out, went,
He actually made the sound.
well, ride with her. And I looked at him, I said, I posed. They look over at me and they started breaking up, and they just all sort of wheeled up and took off. But I could see all their Hell's Angels on the back of their jackets as they took off. And
Well, they probably didn't want to be shown up by you.
I know,
That's
it's
why they
frightening when you go, you know, yes, my Yamaha could have floored them.
I don't have any stories like that.
Oh, but you rode with me all over. Remember when we used to take
Yes, we did.
tours up into the mountains, and you and I had just ride around? This is before it was fashionable. Okay, you and I, before it was a Harley Davidson thing that you put your girl on the back, and all the girls get dressed up now, and they have these whole outfits they can wear to go biking. Well, we were more
Conservative.
yes. We drove a motorcycle and you rode in the back.
I know.
That's about all they do now. They just dress differently.
Yeah, very differently. I don't dress like that.
No, but we want to tell your story?
All right, this is very embarrassing, so if there are any small children in the room, ask them to leave. We were going up to Half Moon Bay, and nature being what it is, we had to stop to go to the bathroom. We couldn't, and there were no facilities, so we pulled over to the side of the road, and it was in an area where you could see both ways clearly for quite some distance. And Roland went first, and I kept watch to make sure that no one was coming. And then he was supposed to watch for me. Well, not watch me, but which he probably did, but watch for me so that I would be safe and not be embarrassed by a car coming by. And he told me, I looked both ways and I didn't see anybody. And he told me that he looked both ways and he didn't see anybody coming. So I squatted, and I was wearing slacks, so of course I had to pull down my pants. So I'm sitting there pretty bare, some of me. And around the curve comes a bus.
Not just a
car with one or two people, a bus. And it was full of Japanese tourists. They all crowded over to one side. They did. They all crowded over, looking out the window. It's like, oh, this must be a new American. I don't know. And some of them had cameras, so I may be famous in Japan. I don't know. Needless to say, that was very embarrassing. Okay, the kids can come back now.
Okay, you're gonna let the kids back in now.
That was my bike experience.
That's right. And I have a couple of foolish ones. Remember when I called you and said, sweetie, I'll be late. I'm sitting at the top of the bridge on the San Mateo, or top of the San Mateo Bridge, and I ran out of gas. And you said, okay. I says, I've got to, actually I was almost, I got to push it up to the top, and then I hope it will go down to the bottom, because, you know, it didn't have a gas tank. I mean a gas gauge. It had a gas gauge. It didn't have a gas gauge. So there I was at 5 o'clock with 10 million cars going by about 3.5 inches from my bike. And I ran out of gas, and so I just put my rear light on and kept hitting the brakes a little, and then I started just coasting down. At the bottom of the bridge, they got a spot you can pull off.
What?
A spot. They got a little indent where you
Yeah.
can pull off. So I pulled off, and they had a phone, and I called, and this guy came all the way out to the other side of the bridge and got me gas.
How wonderful.
Wasn't that nice? That was really nice. And it was like,
It
well,
was
now
on free
I didn't
service.
feel as bad. You know, I don't feel as bad now when I have to pay these phenomenal bridge tolls that they're supporting, you know, the whole Bay Area on the bridge tolls.
Okay. The other bike thing I remember is when our son Mark was born. He was about 8 or 9 months old, and Roland wanted to take him riding on the motorbike.
Yep.
Well, I thought I was going to have a heart attack. I was so scared. I was much more reserved then than I am now. And so they took off after me voicing quite persistently
Oh, he did
that
good.
I didn't think it was a good idea. But Mark and Roland overrode me. They just decided that they were going to go, and that was it.
Yes, we did. And
So I stood outside, sort of a nervous wreck, waiting for them to return, praying that they were going to actually make it. They just went around the block.
We just went around the block. Of course, the block is about 10 miles.
2 miles an hour.
But he sat, you know, right in the gas tank. He sat right. We put that helmet on.
But you didn't have
He
a
looked
gas
so-
tank.
Yeah, we had the gas tank there. We had the
You
big
just said
green
you
gas
didn't
tank.
when you ran out of gas. I'm kidding.
You're kidding. Yes. So,
Okay.
so Mark, he had that helmet on. He looked so cute in that helmet.
Yeah, you couldn't see him.
You couldn't see him. He had this
All you
big
could
helmet
see
on.
was
And
this little chunky body and a big blue bubble
Big
helmet.
blue, and so he sat right there between my legs, and he held on to each arm, and we went around the block.
Yep.
It was.
And they
just-
came back safely, which was wonderful.
Yes, we did.
That was my other bike thingy. So I have something about bikes. I didn't learn to even ride a bicycle until I was 40. Because we didn't have any place to ride bikes
She
when I
rode
was
horses,
growing
though.
up. I did
She
ride
rode-
horses.
She rode horses.
That doesn't count. We're
It
talking
counts.
about bikes.
We rode tractors too.
Yes, I did ride tractors.
Tractors and horses.
Not only did I ride tractors, I drove tractors. I
That's
learned
right.
to drive. My dad, we lived way, way out in the country, and the roads were not paved. And when it rained, the roads would get these gullies or these tracks in them. And they were probably 2 inches, 3 inches deep. And then when it dried up, it was like cement. And my dad would get the wheels lined up in those and let me drive the car. And I was, I don't know, 6, 7 years old. I couldn't even see over the steering wheel. I had to use the hand throttle and the hand brake. Of course, I didn't use brake very
They were
much.
old Model 8s, right?
Yep.
Model 8 Fords.
So I could do that, but I couldn't ride a bicycle.
Well, I started getting discouraged bike riding. Remember when I walked into St. Rose Hospital? And
You laid your bike down.
Yeah, I laid my bike on. I worked.
He hit an oil slick.
I hit an oil slick, and I just sailed out, and I got
I
this
wasn't with him.
big gash across my arm. and I was right next to the hospital. I worked there.
Yep.
And I went in and I said, I just sort of pushed my bike up. I just sort of let it fall on the grass there, and I went out and I says, that's a heck of a way to go to work. With four, well, it was about 6, 7 stitches on it. Bikes. That's when I started getting a little discouraged in bikes. And we
lost one of our friends when I was in junior high school. He rode motorcycles, but he was a maniac, and he rode really, really fast all the time. He had one speed, and it was fast. And he also hit an oil slick and laid his bike down. Unfortunately, when he laid his bike down, he was going so fast that he slid under 4 cars, and his head hit lots of stuff under there, and it killed him.
Yep.
He was DOA. He didn't even wait to get to the hospital to die. He died right there.
That's one thing about bikes. And
isn't this a cheerful?
well, I mean, we told all the sad stuff. We told the fun stuff. We told the sad stuff. Now we can tell about how we like to see bikers. What we like to see bikers is we look out of the front window of our RV.
That's the way I like to see them.
And we watch them go by, and we look, and they have, they have all this camping gear they're gonna stay in.
Bugs in their teeth.
And and we know they got bugs in their teeth. We know they're freezing to death because they got all these clothes on. And we look, and we hope there's no rainstorm right there for them to go through. And we sit in our RV, and Teri
drink coffee.
She goes back and gets me coffee, and we wave to a happy Harley.
Have fun.
Yeah. Yes. We know how we want to live life now.
Yeah. Not on a Harley.
I think that's pretty good for bike
bikes.
stories. Yep.
Okay. That's it.
We can complete ooh, ah, ooh. Bye.
Say goodnight, Gracie.
Good night, Gracie.
You said it. Okay.
Old Man Story is returning home. Hey, maybe we're headed to Sturgis, South Dakota.